Hey, it's Monica cooking in her PJs. So today I'm making a mushroom soup. I have taken 1.5 pounds of mushrooms and I've used my handy dandy Cuisinart with that slicing attachment. I'm so excited, look at that. It's beautiful. So I'm gonna put all that into a bowl. We need to chop up 2 onions. You wanna take the side that doesn't have the root end, so just the top, and you wanna slice that off. Okay, I'm making a flat surface. I'm gonna go ahead and lay that down, and you're gonna cut straight through the back, like that. And now you're gonna peel. So you may end up losing sometimes the outer layer of the onion, which is totally fine because it's a very big onion and I don't need all of it. Okay, putting my hand flat on it, got my knife, and I'm just gonna make 2 cuts, not all the way through. I'm gonna stop before I get to that root because I want it to stay together. Now the top. Once that's done, you're gonna wanna cut the opposite direction, very close together. So take my knife, just make, not cutting all the way to the back. You wanna keep that root intact. You wanna cut, because this is supposed to be diced, not too small, but a good size. And now that that's done, it's very easy to just go ahead and cut your onion. And as you can see, basically chopped. Perfect. Another option is to actually cut down your onion and put it in a food processor. And you can chop it that way. It's a lot faster if you have to do quite a bit. So, and I'm starting to cry. So go ahead and take that onion and just chop it into like quarters. And then drop it in your food processor. And we're gonna pulse that. And there you have it, chopped onion. It's perfect. I love making soup because it's so forgiving. It's one of those things that's really kind of hard to screw up. So the next thing that I need to prepare as far as ingredients is 4 cloves of garlic minced. And to make this more quick for myself, just like that's why I use the food processor to take care of the mushrooms and the onions, I'm actually gonna use a garlic press, and I'm just gonna press my garlic in that. That's a good one. Just gonna cut off the head and tail of that. Much faster. 1, 2. Ooh, that one got smooshed. That's okay, because it's gonna go to my garlic press. So, put as many as you can fit comfortably in your garlic press. I can fit quite a bit in mine, so I just put 3. Press that through. Ooh, I love that. Oh, it's awesome. Get your knife, carefully, I'm using the back. Just scrape that off. Oh, look at that. It's awesome. Put in the rest of my garlic. Give it a quick squeeze. That was just 1 piece of garlic right there. And there you have it. So this recipe is calling for 4 teaspoons of chopped fresh thyme. Love thyme. They actually want you to separate it. You're gonna do 2 and 2. So if you have never dealt with this before, the best way to get the leaves off, you wanna hold it at the top and pull straight down and the leaves come off. You can also just pick them off at the top, but generally that's how you wanna be getting them off. Let's go ahead and mince that. Just put your teaspoon, there's 1. 2, another 1, that's 3. Oh, we're so close. I think we just got it. I think we did. It makes me happy. Yes, okay. 2 and 2, we're gonna set that aside. So this recipe calls for fresh ground pepper. So I've been doing that in a little ramekin, and it calls for about ½ a teaspoon to 1 full teaspoon. So I'm gonna do a full. Let's measure that out. Let's see if we've got it. 1/2. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Okay. Next we need 1 to 2 teaspoons of salt. Of course, always use kosher salt. Such an easy one to measure out too. I love that. I'm gonna use 2. Okay, so here we have all of our mise en place. I've got 6 tablespoons of unbleached flour, all purpose. 2 bouillon cubes. These are beef bouillon. If you wanted to make this a vegetarian mushroom dish, you would just use vegetable bouillon if you can find that, and also vegetable broth. But today I'm using chicken broth and beef bouillon. Also needed a little bit of dry white wine. So I've got a half a cup of that, full cup of cream. I've got my 2 teaspoons of salt, my 1 teaspoon of ground pepper. I've got my 4 teaspoons of thyme that I split into 2 parts. And then I've got my garlic that we talked about. Of course, my mushrooms and my onions, and I'm ready to go. I do need a little bit of oil, but I don't really need to measure that out. I'm gonna do that right in the pot. Okay, so my recipe calls for melting the butter and oil in a large Dutch oven or a pot, heavy bottomed pot. So I'm gonna put it on medium high. And I've got my 4 tablespoons of butter, which is basically a half a stick. I also need a tablespoon of oil. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's about a tablespoon. And I just need to let that melt. Once it's melted, I'm gonna add the onions, and I'm going to saute them for about 2 to 3 minutes until they're nice and soft and fragrant. This is so exciting. I've actually not made this before. My DP's busy today, so. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add in the onion. We're gonna saute that, like I mentioned, for 2 to 3 minutes. Oh, I love onion. I set my timer because I tend to sometimes get distracted. Someone might call, maybe my ma, and it just helps me keep on track. If you know something about yourself and you could use a little help, you might as well do it. So that's on. Oh my God. It smells so good, and it's just onion and butter and oil. Jeez Louise. 45 more seconds. Okay, let's add our garlic. Okay, I'm gonna set timer for 1 minute. That's done. We're gonna put those mushrooms in and 2 teaspoons of thyme. Kind of mixing it, kind of folding it in. Got my mushrooms, my onions, garlic, my thyme, and you can stir. Sometimes you can go around, cut through the center and kind of lift and flop it. That's folding. It's been about almost 3 minutes. And as you can see, it's sauteed really nicely, kind of wilting, but in the correct way. Oh, I love that. So we're almost at 5 minutes, and look at how this has reduced itself, and the mushrooms have released their water content. And so all that taste is going to be extracted out into the soup. It's looking really beautiful. Just another minute or so, and then we will add the wine. Time to add our next ingredient. You're gonna notice I changed. I was getting really hot in my sweatshirt, so I went ahead and put on my chef's jacket. So now we're gonna pour in the wine and allow this to cook for 3 minutes. Mix that. Remember, when you're cooking with alcohol, it burns off the alcohol content itself. Not to 0, but pretty close. So if somebody's worried about that, you don't have to fear. I'm getting really excited. I really wanted to go to culinary school and get my degree. Not so that I could open my own restaurant or cook in someone else's, but I had always thought I might actually do a radio show. I used to listen to a woman named Melinda Lee when I was growing up, and I loved that she had a radio show and people could call in and ask her questions. And I thought, I think I could do that. I have a fun voice. I'm not great on camera, but I was working for Disney for so many years, and every time we had what we thought was going to be another set of layoffs, I finally decided I was, if I got laid off, I would go full time to culinary school. And fortunately, I never got laid off. So I ended up going at night and on weekends into Pasadena. They had a culinary institute, and I took like 50 classes or maybe more, and it just really helped my confidence. So next, we're going to sprinkle this with our flour. I'm going to sprinkle the mushrooms with our flour, and we're going to mix it in. I'm going to kind of do this just a little bit slower than others might. I don't want to just dump it in and and get it clumpy. So I'm gonna stir and sprinkle some more. And incorporate it. You gotta mix it well. I think I've mentioned the idea of when you put flour in something, raw flour is not a good taste, so you really want to incorporate that. Let's finish that up. Mix it well. Okay, time's up on that. We're gonna go ahead and add our stock. 4 cups of either chicken or vegetable. I'm not good with French, as you know, but I love French cooking. So anyway, this recipe calls for crumbled bouillon, and so I'm doing that right now with my fingers because I'm going to have to add that really soon. After this comes to a boil, we're going to reduce the heat to low so it can simmer. We're going to add salt, pepper, and this crumbled bouillon. Okay, we're starting to boil. I'm going to reduce the heat a bit. I'm going to season with the salt. It was about 2 teaspoons. And the pepper. And the crumbled bouillon. I reduced the heat to medium-low so it starts to simmer, and you cover it for 15 minutes, but make sure to stir it while it's simmering a few times in that 15 minutes. Okay. So this has been low simmering for about 15 minutes, and I mixed it probably 4 times during that 15 minutes. It's looking pretty awesome. And now it's time to add the heavy cream, and you have to make sure you put that on simmer right away because you don't want that cream to curdle. Go ahead and pour that in. Oh. Now, you don't have to use all heavy cream. You can use half and half if you want, or, more milk than cream even. But look at how beautiful that is. Oh, that's what I'm talking about, people. I'm gonna let this simmer. Let it come to a simmer. You don't want it to boil. And then I'm gonna taste it, and I'm gonna adjust it for salt and pepper if necessary. So my soup has been simmering on a back burner. I'm gonna bring it to the front now. Basically, you're just wanting that cream to get nice and warm, nice and hot, without boiling. And then we finish it. Here's the rest of the thyme. Put that in, mix that around. And then I'm gonna add some parsley that I have chopped up here. Just a little handful. Let's mix that in. Oh yeah. And we are ready to serve. Thanks so much for watching today. I hope you're all keeping safe and healthy, and I hope you enjoy the recipe. Well, come on, let's eat.